Every product around you exists because of a plan. Welcome to The Industrial Analyst, where we uncover the strategy behind industry. You ever feel like a company just gets you? You know, like their products, their service, their whole vibe just feels like it was tailor-made for you? Well, guess what? It probably was. See, behind every truly successful business, there's a powerful strategy. And today, we're going to unlock it. And you're going to see that at its core, it's not about complicated spreadsheets or fancy boardrooms. It's all about you. All right, so let's pull back the curtain. Here's our roadmap. It all kicks off where every business should start, with the customer. From there, we're going to see how companies find their perfect little tribes and then figure out what those people really value. And then we'll see how that one single idea shapes the whole shebang, from how a company is built on the inside to what every single employee works on every day. And finally, we'll get into the really tough stuff, the big trade-offs that truly separate the great companies from everyone else. So let's start with the big one, the single most important rule in business. This is the foundation that everything, and I mean everything, gets built on. It really answers the ultimate question, doesn't it? I mean, in a world with a million choices, how does any company manage to not just stick around, but to actually win our loyalty? The answer, it turns out, is a lot simpler and way more powerful than you might think. And there it is. That's it. This is the core idea of all modern business strategy. It's not about who has the flashiest product or the cleverest ad. Real success is about one thing: figuring out what customers need and then delivering on it. Everything a company does has to connect back to this one simple point.
Okay, so if it's all about the customer, well, which customer? You can't be everything to everyone, right? So the very first strategic step is to stop looking at the world as this one giant blob of people and start finding your specific focused groups.
This is the view from like 30,000 feet. Companies start with the total potential market. Think every single person on Earth who might buy a bike, and they start carving it up into big, measurable chunks. Things like where people live, how much they make, that kind of stuff. And then they zoom in. This is customer segmentation, and it's where things get way more specific. Inside those big market chunks, they start identifying smaller groups of actual customers who have similar attitudes or buying habits. So here's the crucial difference. It's all about focus. Market segmentation is the big picture strategy, like defining the mountain biker market. But customer segmentation is way more tactical. It's like a winter jacket company realizing that, yeah, they sell jackets, but the needs of a pro skier are totally different from the needs of a city commuter. Two different tribes, two different strategies. So, knowing who your people are is step one. But the real magic, the thing that unlocks real loyalty, happens when a company figures out what those specific groups actually want. Companies do this through something they call the voice of the customer. And look, this isn't guesswork. It's active listening. Every time you fill out a survey or leave a review online, you're giving them data. They're trying to find out, do you want it faster, cheaper, more durable? Your answers literally become their marching orders. And you know, when companies really, truly listen, they find out something fascinating. And honestly, a little scary. Not all customers are created equal. In fact, a huge chunk of their success usually boils down to a surprisingly small group of people. And that relationship is often summed up by this one number: 80%. You might have heard of this. It's the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. And it means that for most businesses, something like 80% of their profits come from just 20% of their customers. These are the vital few. And this is exactly why companies become obsessed with finding and absolutely delighting that core group. It's just way more profitable to keep them happy than to constantly chase after brand new people. Okay, so a company has found its most valuable customers, and it knows what they want. Now, this isn't just info for the marketing folks. This knowledge actually builds the entire company from the inside out. So check this out. A company's design has different layers, but the one we really care about for this story is right there in the middle, the local level. Think of this as the company's internal engine room. And your needs, as the customer, directly control how that engine is built and how it runs every single day. This table just lays it out perfectly. If you demand 2-day shipping, that company has to design its entire internal process to meet that lead time. If you expect a super high-quality product, their assembly line has to be designed to hit those exact specs. Your expectations become their internal rulebook. It's that direct. It creates this really clear chain of command that starts with just one thing: the requirements of the market, which, again, is you. Your needs literally define the tasks that need to get done, which then designs the whole manufacturing and planning system. Everything flows from the outside in. So having a great internal design is awesome. But how does a giant company make sure every single employee, from the CEO all the way down to the person on the front line, is actually following that customer-focused plan every single day? Well, they use a blueprint. It's called the Integrated Measurement Model. It's basically a powerful tool that translates the company's biggest high-level goals all the way down, through every layer, right to what individual people do. It's all about getting everyone pulling in the exact same direction.
So here's how that cascade actually works. It starts at the top with a huge goal, like a big revenue target. Then that's broken down for each division. Then those divisions set their priorities, like the operations team is going to focus on delivery speed. And finally, that gets turned into what are called SMART objectives, specific, measurable goals for individual employees. That way everyone knows exactly how their daily work helps serve the customer in the end.
And now we've reached the final and maybe the most important piece of the whole strategy puzzle. Here's the hard truth. To serve one group of customers really, really well, a company has to admit that it can't be the best at everything for everybody. It has to make choices. It has to make trade-offs.
These are the 5 main battlegrounds where companies compete. They can try to be the fastest, the most dependable, the most flexible, the highest quality, or the cheapest. But here's the catch. They can't win on all 5 fronts at the same time. It's impossible. This is where strategy gets real. Let's go back to our winter jacket company. They decided to serve that pro skier segment, right? So they are choosing to compete on quality. They're going to use the best materials, the best stitching, everything. But that choice automatically means they are making a trade-off. They simply cannot also be the leader on cost. They prioritize one thing to win over their chosen customers.
And this quote just nails it. Great strategy isn't just about deciding what to do. It's about deciding what not to do. Companies have to specialize. They pick their lane, they pick their customer, and they pour all their energy into winning on the 1 or 2 things that matter most to that specific group. So the next time you choose a product or a service, I want you to take a closer look. See if you can spot who they designed it for. See if you can spot the trade-offs they decided to make. Because behind that choice is an entire business strategy built from the ground up with a customer, and maybe that customer is you, right at the very center of it all.